Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you had some good, meaningful networking. You're going to have more time to go back to the conversations and to network and meet more people very soon. We have now a quick panel discussion with our speakers to discuss some of the Q&A and some other interesting topics. And in about 20 minutes, we're going to wrap it up, and then there's going to be more time for networking. So Mmoloki and Gil, if you could please just turn on your mic and camera. Great, wonderful. Hi again. So Gil, a question that came up from a few people. Can your technology be used in greenhouses?
Yes, we have several approached customers to this kind of application, since we are talking about keeping the computerized controllers for irrigation, fertilization. And what's very interesting about that the greenhouse and our fuel cell are sharing the same fuel, because they use ammonia, NH3 ammonia, to fertilize the soil, and we are using the same ammonia to reform from it the hydrogen to run the fuel cell. So it's a good fit, and it's a yes.
That's great. That's great. So I'm sure that the people who asked it, you should definitely reach out to Gil afterwards, because there's so much that can be done in greenhouses and in other storage aspects when it comes to agro processing and so on. So that would be very interesting to hear more about that. Another question. What are the real challenges? This is also, Gil, for you. What are the real challenges you have faced so far with this technology, mainly with the hospital installations?
The real challenges is regulation. From one side, everybody now talks about green energy and hydrogen and ammonia. From the other side, there is lack of know-how, knowledge, and expertise and experience in using them as an energy driver. So I'm not criticizing, but just mentioning that everybody that goes to this new technology, we escort them with getting all the approvals from the regulation. Each government needs to have all the paperwork, and we do have it. And we see some countries are very advanced, some are not. So we bring from the advanced countries in hydrogen into those novice. So the challenge is to make sure that everybody understands exactly what we are doing and what is the precautions. And hydrogen, as any energy potential, could be flammable, but not much different than natural gas or propane. It's now only the right steps to keep it safe, and it's there, and it's safe when you keep.
That's, by the way, another thing that I find fascinating, because when you say ammonia and hydrogen, to me it sounds like extremely dangerous, and I don't want to touch it, and I don't know what negative things that have to do with like a big power plant. And when you look at GenCell, what you guys are doing, it's quite remarkable, because it's exactly the opposite. You guys were able to solve the what's the word? Not health hazard, but even more than that, like it's completely safe, because you're using the water tank, right? So that if it
Yes.
spills, can you elaborate on that? I think that's
two things, very simple. Hydrogen is the lightest material on Earth. Just keep it open to sky, and if there is a problem, it will just leave friendly. It's non-toxic. It will leave, and no danger. It's already driving cars. You see, Toyota Mirai cars are well done with all these releases that goes to the atmosphere. If there is a problem, even God forbid a car crash, the hydrogen leaves. And with ammonia, just keep it surrounded with water. And if there is anything happen to the ammonia, you have to avoid evaporating into the atmosphere. You just spray it with water and you dismantle it. It dissolves.
And so because it's covered in water, if anything happens, it touches the water and it's safe.
Yeah, it dissolves like sugar.
Fantastic. Amazing. Can your technology work with biomass energy gas to power CHP systems?
Unfortunately not, because fuel cell need pure hydrogen. There is a way to reform hydrogen from biogas because it has hydrogen inside, but probably there is a way, but we don't know how to do that.
Got it. Got it. Yet.
Yeah,
Great.
always yet.
Wonderful. Okay. I want to move on to Mmoloki.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you please, I've actually spoken with a couple of colleagues and people, and it was just so interesting for people to hear about what you're doing. And, just in general, what it means when we talk about, new coal conversion technologies. Can you maybe give us like the elevator pitch, right, of the pros and cons of the things that you're working on?
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Shai, for the opportunity. So what we do with the conversion technologies is that we burn coal in that differently from what is conventionally known as a coal-fired power plant. What we do is we liberate coal, we collect the gas, we separate the gas, then we use a cleaner gas as fuel in the gas turbines. Then we turn the turbines, connect the turbines to the mini grid, and then produce electricity. So that's how the process is. So we are saying we are trying to make this, because obviously when you speak of coal, nobody wants to hear about that because of pollution, because of the gases it emits, because of the pollutants. And already there is a problem in our local coal electricity production plant, in that there's already particulates or fly ash that is emitted to the atmosphere. People are inhaling that, the crops are burning from that, and we cannot obviously deny that there are other pollutants like SOx and NOx and possibility of mercury as well. So what we are saying as the new coal conversion technology, in this case, gasification, we are saying we burn this coal enclosed as opposed to burning it out in the coal-fired power plants. We're burning it enclosed, we capture this gas and we can monitor what we do with it. Even if we use, like in this stage that we are in with the pilot plant, what we do is we produce this gas and it's raw. It's not separated, because at this point we don't have the financial means to buy equipment to separate different gases and different solids from it. What we use is just a cyclone, but it's not enough to separate all the particulates in the synthetic gas. So what we do right now, we plan to feed it as it is in the gas turbine, but it will be contained in, so we have total control of that. But even in the future, when we have large-scale plants, we can carbon capture, we can do sequestration, where we pump the carbon dioxide back in the underground. We can collect the particulates, we can separate the pollutant gases from the raw, from the synthetic gas that we want to feed into our gas turbines.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you for that. I don't see any more questions at the moment, so we'll continue with our topics, and if some other questions come, we'll answer them. Gil, and then Mmoloki, we can actually start with you. Are there any specific projects or case studies that you've been involved in, or that you would like to share with us in terms of these type of new ways to work with coal?
Yes, there are quite a few projects that I'm involved in, but I'll highlight the one that I got funded for, just to do a proof of concept on that project, is the production of synthetic gas to produce 100 kilowatt power. Then that is just a proof of concept that will maybe later on be funded for a larger scale project. So this project can be or is scalable. The plant that we are building is transportable as well, or the customer has a choice of how they want the plant to be. Because we build it in here, then we can custom make it to each customer, provided we have all that the customer demands from us. Yeah. So I don't know if I've covered.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gil, on your end, can you share with us a specific project or, case study or something you've been working on?
Yes, we are working, as we've mentioned, with backup system, but we also see a movement on new way we are moving our cars by batteries. And it happened to be that it's not so easy for the infrastructure to hold so many cars, need so much electricity at a certain time. So we started very quickly to convert our backup systems into a fast charging areas, fast charging cabinets that we can install in those roads that are not along with grids. So if you have a battery that is going to be discharged and you are going to shut down, you'll have every few kilometers a station that you can go for 10, 12 minutes, have a quick charge for another 50 kilometers or 20 kilometers. You can move on, and it's all run by hydrogen or ammonia. And here is what comes out of it. It's not just it's a kind of infrastructure less. You don't have to have grid aside. You just bring those cylinders every time you need to refuel them, and it transmits the signal, please fuel. It also brings you the ability to charge those batteries from green resourcing, because our hydrogen usually is being electrolyzed from water by renewable energy resources, sun or wind. So when you charge your car from fossil energy generated grid, you're not exactly green. You take not a green hydrogen and not green electricity to your battery. But if you take it from green hydrogen, so you are moving this solar energy or wind energy through the hydrogen to your car battery. So you have twice. First, you got stuck out of being run out and you can't move. And secondly, you can put a sticker, I'm a real green car. You're mute.
Yeah, sorry. I said, wow. Fantastic. Fantastic. That's great. So I wanna kind of end just with a more general conversation that I've actually been having with myself. Over the past few months, I've been kind of just learning a bit more about energy. I knew very little and still know very little about the energy space. And I'm reading more articles and speaking to more people and just kind of. And one of the things that I find is that there's a little bit of a dissonance between so many DFIs and banks and funds and government agencies today who are talking about clean energy, right? And again, I'm gonna say like the overviewing general statement. I'd love to just hear your thoughts on this, both of you. And I feel like we may be missing something here, because while for me sitting in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem or New York or London, it's very nice to talk about, and important, right? I'm not, God forbid, disrespectful yet, to talk about green energy and so on, only doing solar, only doing, hydro. There's so many people who are living in the dark, literally living in the dark. And I feel like, again, the problem that I personally am seeing is just that huge dissonance, that huge gap, right? Between where they're at in terms of everything we invest in or give grants for is only clean energy, which is great and I love it, right? Just to be clear. But at the same time, I'm saying, what about the diesel generators, which we don't like, right, Gil? Right? We don't like it. We want to get off it. Coal, is it good, bad? There's different sides to it, right? But at the same time, there's so many people that today and tomorrow, right, cannot finish their studies because they don't have electricity, cannot continue being productive or even getting a drink with friends, right, after it's dark because they don't have, light in their homes or in their village. So yeah, that's just kind of, a thought that I have and that I'm dealing with and just exploring. Would love to hear, your thoughts on this, Gil and Mmoloki.
Rocky, do you want to start?
Yes, I will start. Yeah, Shai, you have raised a very good point, because there's a huge difference between energy in Africa and energy in other parts of the world, especially developed continents. Well, most of these other continents are developed, but Africa. Because here we still need a giant infrastructure when it comes to energy. And that is going to boost other alternative energy sources. Because when you talk wind, when you talk other sources of energy, they depend on the weather. When you talk about solar, if it's not sunny, there's no way how you can then have your electricity. So coal, as polluting as it is, we are trying to look into other ways in which we can utilize it. It still remains the primary source of energy, especially for a country like Botswana, which is landlocked. You cannot get tidal energy anywhere. The solar energy, yes, it is there, but it's not advanced. The wind energy, there's probably only one of that sort in the southern part of Botswana. And it's not even, it's less talked about because it does not do anything much in terms of the demand for energy in the country. So there's a difference in that when you look at the levels of pollution, if you compare all these continents, you get Africa probably as the least polluting continent. Maybe then, not speaking for coal obviously has a lot of negatives, but we need to explore ways in which we can utilize this resource, because it's vast. In the earlier presentation, I showed just a map of not even a half, it's probably a quarter of Africa, and just how the coal resources are vast in those areas. And what can we do? What else can we do if we have that? Just to explore other ways in which we can have greener energy from coal, because it will remain a primary source of energy.
Right. I can add to what Rocky says, that we understand that, and we found some ways. And here is an invitation for funds to come and support both technologies. To take coal, which is a carbon hydride, it has carbon, it has also a lot of hydrogen, and there are many ways to try to extract the hydrogen out of the coal, and also ammonia out of coal. So ammonia is life. Ammonia is fertilization. The population of the world, I think, grew up 10 times with 100 something years because of the ability to fertilize so vastly. So if we take carbon, the carbon out, just use the hydrogen that is part of the coal. The coal could be a cleaner. It's not, the processes are not the cleanest. But let's say if you save 30, 40, 50% CO2 emission, you've done it. And if there are no NOx's, you've done it. So we cannot do those revolutions in one day from 100% to 0%. It can take 50 years to get rid of CO2, and we still use the resources as natural gas and also as coal, but find a chemical way to take the hydrogen out of the hydrocarbons, and then from hydrogen to get into electrical energy, also heating, and the result is only water. So I think if you ask about where the fund should go, I think this is the direction.
Yeah. Yeah, I really think that energy, I'm not sure, people who are on the ground or doing in the business of energy, I think they know this well, but I remember really only after like a trip or two to rural Africa way back when did I realize how critical energy is for anything else that you want to do, right? In other words, if you don't have energy, and again, this is something many of us take for granted when you come from a country like the US or London, right? But in order to, enhance more job creation, in order to get food processing, in order to get the export and imports, right? Energy is like a bottleneck that if you don't have it, right? In other words, it is the bottleneck. And so if you don't have it, you have to make sure that you focus on energy as a country, as a society, that you invest in energy, using all the different, technical solutions and techniques. And then, of course, that will open up and enhance the development, of a lot of countries and areas. And, we hope and pray, and we'll continue working hard to enhance more, investment, trade, and job creation in Africa. And we hope to do it together with you, Gil, and together with you, Mmoloki, and many others. Would you like to say something before we wrap it up?
Yeah, maybe just to add on that point, there's also a high price that we pay for energy in Africa, because obviously it's not enough. So where there is shortage, obviously the prices go high. So we need to invest more on energy. We need to build those big infrastructure or those big plants just to have main sources of energy. I presented earlier with our local power generation in Botswana. We provide ourselves with only 30% of the need for the country, and the rest we get from outside. Then there are times when they're not able to cope with that demand as well. So that means we go with 30% for the whole country, and it affects a lot of business. It affects lifestyles. It affects, like you said, the kids at school. It affects a lot of people and a lot of progress in the country.
Yeah. Gil, anything on your end before we wrap it up?
Just to let you know that we had some approaches from the World Bank to come with a solution that is mobile, that we can come to villages and put a system on a trailer that can open up a small clinic, a classroom with the fuel cell as the main source of power, and to allow also a classroom with satellite internet, so you can come to places that have no energy, no electrification, no communication, and start to make their civilization and then to grow up from it. And this is very tangible, also a way to start.
Fantastic. So we're going to move on now to more networking for everyone who wants to join. Neil, again, thank you very much for joining us. Mmoloki, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be in touch soon for more energy events and energy projects. Stay safe and healthy. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Shai. Maybe, Gil, we should connect and see how we can bring those fuel cells in Botswana, because we need them.
Definitely. I'd love to. Thank you very much.
So here's what I'm going to do. Mmoloki, as we speak, we're going to finish this, and I'm going to make an intro right away, okay, between you two, because this is what we're talking about. This is the business that we're working on, okay?
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.